My name is Bill Carman. I am an illustrator, I'm a painter, artist, do all kinds of stuff. I teach illustration at Boise State University in Boise, Idaho. When I work, it's very spontaneous. Although a lot of my work looks very planned, very organized, very tight. For the most part, they're very fluid. That even if I start with a sketch or a drawing, and they're never very tight, that something always changes through the process. And so putting this book together is very similar to that I organize images and then change them and juxtapose them and look at them, as a whole. And the book is similar in to the way that I work, I guess. I didn't want this sort of tell-all retrospective, but in a point in my career where I felt like I want a gathering point. I want it, to see, have in one place sort of where I've come to, So it's for the most part, recent work, work in the last 10 years at the most. So I feel it's like a fence post for me. And I wanted to design a book about the imagery and not about, who is Bill Carman? Sketches are important to me, sketchbooks are important, so I started with that, just some of the stuff from my sketchbooks. Then it just moves right on into the images. It's not chronologically organized. The work I felt had a certain rhythm as I went through this kind of piece, then this kind of piece. And so it's sort of a visual rhythm that I built. I've also attached some of the sketches with some of the paintings, so some of the preliminary things or even, thought sketches that maybe went along with the paintings. So I think there are glimpses into that visual thing I'm doing up there. I move around, and not only with medium, but I think a bit stylistically too, and the kinds of things that I choose to paint and draw. And the only reason I've been able to do that, that's always been there. But of course, when I had more of a career in illustration and design, I had to control that urge and try to settle it a little bit. But once I started to move along in my career, and then especially since the teaching thing, gave me that foundation of, okay, well now here's another way I can make money, and then I still have time to do the painting. Then I could step off of cliffs, take risks. Your situation determines how much risk you can take. If I was single, and then you can take risks early on, but my risk taking, I couldn't do a lot of it until later. I had a family to support, right? And so there's certain responsibilities you have. But as my family grew older, I found teaching. And when I was able to get into teaching, I had that income that I could say, okay, I've got an income now, my family's not going to suffer. Now, I can start to dive into the things that I wanted to and take those risks without the risk of starving, but certainly career risks. And I just said, look, I'm at a point now that I can, survive. I want to do the things that I want to do. Especially if I'm doing a larger painting and I'm working for a while and I get very intense, I always have pieces of paper, pieces of wood, pieces of metal, things around that I can just grab and say, I'm going to do something else for a while. And the surface may determine a different direction for me, a different medium to use on it. So there are any number of factors that will drive me to choose one medium over another or one tool over another. And surface is certainly one of those things, whether I choose to work on wood or paper or panel or metal. My pieces have become that place where I can build order from chaos. And maybe that's one of the reasons I like working from a certain kind of chaos. I put down washes, I put down textures, and then I build from those. Because if I can reveal something, my life is very chaotic. And at this point in my life, I thought things would be a certain way, very organized, settled down. But you can't plan. You can plan, but sometimes things just don't happen that way. So I think all along, my work has been an escape as far as I can control things from chaos there. And so in some way it's that sort of reflection. And I don't know if the design of the book comes into that same sort of thing. But I don't say I can help it, you know. When you do any kind of a project like this, if I've been working a certain way and it's ingrained in me that a project of this scale and scope of a book, it can't help but reflect the same thought processes, you know, I'm using in my work, and that is reflected from my life, you know. So I have this moment of organization in my life. This book is also this fence post of, okay, now from here, what's going to happen? I don't know.